Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. Thank you for joining me today. I haven't done much in the way of promoting this live stream, so it might just be a little intimate sort of arrangement here where there aren't very many people. I just ran out of time this morning, to be honest. I've just been doing stuff and then I suddenly looked at the clock and it's like, oh my goodness, it's nearly 11. That's what time it is here anyway. So yeah, my apologies if anyone is watching this on the replay and missed out because you didn't get a notification or something like that. I do apologise. It's very remiss of me. And I'm also looking at this bench and thinking I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of tidying before I start looking at a Mac Plus. What did I do in my last stream? I can't remember. That's a good question. I always like to do a recap of where things got up to on my last live stream. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I need to be working on, and we'll see what happens today with the Mac Plus, because I've got an LC475 that's not displaying any video, but it chimes and boots. I've got an LC2 which worked perfectly and then all of a sudden stopped. I've got a Quadra 840 AV that's just been sent out to me. It should arrive probably on Monday or Tuesday. So that's going to be an interesting live stream. I've been doing a lot of stuff related to the Atari portfolio, which I know is a very, very limited interest area. I know not everyone is particularly keen on the Atari portfolio, but I love it. I think it's a great little machine, a very important part of history. I mean, it was one of the first palm top computers available. And I've been chatting to this guy, Andy, and Andy is doing some amazing stuff with it. I mean, he has tipped me off to, he's got some instructions for how you can upgrade the internal RAM. It originally came with 128K, and you can upgrade it to 512K with this little modification. What else? He's created a universal adapter, which he's still got a bit of work. I'm going to probably try and help him with that when I get a bit of time. That is a parallel port and a serial port and a RAM upgrade, and you'll name it. So yeah. Anyhow, that's enough of the portfolio stuff. I'll do my normal thing and I'll say hello to the people in the chat for the few that are there. So hello to SadMac356, hello to Jebatronics, hello to Francois Revol, hello to Chris Angelis, Hardware Hacker, hello Inkscube. I have woken up today with my sinuses I am just like a ball of snot today, so I do apologise. I may end up having to cut the live stream short because of that, because I don't want to just be continually blowing my nose and stuff. But I was doing a little bit of work in the garden yesterday, and yeah, I think I have reacted somewhat to the nature of it being spring out there, because I don't normally get allergies and hay fever, but I am definitely a little bit sneezy today. I'm just going to do the little back soon here while I blow my nose, because none of you need to see that. Nice. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. Chris Donnelly, hello there. So yeah, anyhow, that's kind of, so essentially what I was doing yesterday. I'll show you this in just a minute. We'll go here and look at the chook cam. So that's the chooks. I've been building this enclosure for my chickens, and you can see one chicken already inside the enclosure, even though there's nothing to actually keep her in. But she's the blind one, so she doesn't know much of what's going on. So yeah, I've already started putting the wire on it, and I've got to continue that. I'll be doing that when I finish the live stream, but I've just been outdoors doing all that stuff, and I've been relocating compost bins and stuff like that, and as a result, I yesterday evening, I just started getting a bit of a runny nose, and then I've sort of woken up this morning and, oh my goodness. Now, when I have finished building that enclosure, I should mention that I will be relocating the camera so that it's inside the enclosure rather than where it is now. So it'll be a very, very good view of the chickens, assuming the cable is long enough. I sure hope the cable is long enough. Yeah, so that's what's happening with that. I have ordered a new webcam. My microscope camera has been giving me a little bit of grief. it stopped storing settings. So every time I switch it on, it reverts to default settings, and that's been a real pain in the backside. And so I am going to replace this camera with a webcam. Specifically, this is my first prototype. This is a Logitech C922 webcam. I've removed the lens. I've built this 3D printed case that has this screw-in enclosure bit, and so then all I need to do is you can't really see it very well, sorry, because of this thing here, but there's a little lens thing here at the bottom, and then the camera at the top. So this part here is the camera, and this part here is the lens, and so this just screws onto the lens, and then I can use just a standard webcam then as my microscope camera, and that has a few advantages associated with it. So I'm going to be doing that. The problem I have is that this is a Logitech C922, and so is this camera up here, and the software I use for manually adjusting the cameras doesn't like two cameras with the same name. So I have ordered a Logitech C920, and I will use either the 920 for that camera and the 922 for the microscope, or vice versa, one of the two. But this should give us nice image results for the microscope camera. So looking forward to getting that up and running. Sorry, I'm just having a look. I'm screwing this thing on here, and because it's plastic and not metal, the thread ain't the best. Never mind. Doesn't matter. I won't need to undo it very often. So anyhow, I did this. Worked on this Mac Plus back in 2024, towards the end of 2024. I cannot believe it's that long ago, but anyhow, it is. And sorry, I'm just going to move a bunch of RAM here. I've got a whole bunch of RAM. And it chimed. I got it all up and running and working beautifully in that regard, except I had a problem with the vertical sweep. And so the image wasn't properly stretched out top-wise. It was going okay horizontally, but vertically it was a little bit challenged, shall we say. A bit vertically challenged. So I thought, okay, no worries. What are we going to do today? We're going to sort out the vertical sweep, but I switched it on this morning on and getting no image at all anymore. So it's now not just vertical sweep, it's other problems. So we're going to open it up and have a look. At the very least, what we may end up doing is just recapping the analog board. I mean, I know that's a little bit dull, but we can sit here and talk about, we can wax lyrical while I do that. Enzo Fitzhume is here. K-Mag Vintage is here. Hello there, Will. Retro Techie is here. Hello there. Okay, now, I'm glad everyone who is here, so thank you very much. As I say, I didn't make any form of announcement of this live stream, so the numbers might be, it'll only be subscribers who have got notifications switched on, assuming, of course, the YouTube notifications do what they're supposed to do. I just realised I've got a little SCSI connector here, an angled SCSI connector. I'm not even sure why. Not to worry. Okay, so I guess what I need to do here is make a little bit of space on the bench. My Stereo Fluxes. I should just mention to people that this version 4, which Stereo made, I think I mentioned this in my last live stream as well, this is the business. This is good stuff. I'm really impressed with it. I mean, I still prefer my ASM. That's just me. That's useless. That's empty. But very, very impressed with this version 4. I actually think it's better than the version 5. Excuse me while I make old man noises. I just noticed a pair of tweezers on the ground. And I have a tendency to lose my tweezers while I'm working, so I always like an extra pair floating around. Right, tweezers. Now I've got 3 pair. I'm feeling very tweezered. That's great. That's great. Oh, Dave's here. Hello there. And Mr. Tech Gadget. Thank you to everyone who is joining. So, just for those who have just turned up, I'll just very quickly recap. This Mac Plus is one that I worked on a while ago. Vertical Sweep was unhappy, and now it seems to be completely black screen, and so I've got to have a look at it and see how it fares. It's a little 3D printed thing that I made that I don't need anymore because I've made something better. Okay, just clearing more stuff. So yeah, and of course the other thing is that if I don't have any luck with the Mac Plus and I decide to do something different today, I've got an LC475 that's not outputting video, an LC2 that's just dead, but wasn't. It's just died just recently. It was one that I recapped, and I think I will probably need to go in and check out some bad traces. Bad traces. Okay, so have I got enough? Yep, I've got a fair bit of the old these things. Every time I'm at JCar, I generally buy more of these because I go through it a lot. I mean, I know I could just use the solder sucker, the mechanical solder sucker, but I really get better results from the WICK. And each to their own. Just go with what works for you. Now, I think I've made a space on this bench big enough for a Mac Plus now, so I think we can go ahead. Okay. Ooh. Here it is. So this is a Mac Plus that I picked up from someone who just sort of gets hold of old computers from old estate sales and storage units and stuff like that. And markets. He picks things up from the markets and stuff like that. And he contacted me about this one and sort of said, you know, you're interested? And I gave him some money. I gave him money based on the fact that I knew it was a very good chance it would be not happy. And it wasn't. But I am a big fan of the Mac Plus. I think it was really where Apple started moving in the right direction with these computers. I mean, one of the big problems with the compact Macs has always been the tiny weeny little screen. And that was one of the biggest complaints people had all along, even though it was quite a high resolution in comparison to what was available at the time. And it was a white background with black text. Most people using computers at the time were used to a black background with either green or amber text, you know, using those sorts of screens. It was a real shift to end up with a computer that looked like you were looking at a piece of paper rather than looking at a computer screen. So there was that definite feeling of you're looking at a piece of paper. And Patrick Pitts, hello there. Chris Angelis, did I say hello? Oh, yeah, said hello to you already. I remember now. So you've got the original Macintosh 128K. They were working very hard to produce something on a budget. And for that reason, it only had 128 kilobytes of RAM. And really, they even knew at the time they released it that was not enough. It really was not enough moving forward. And then, of course, the next computer they brought out was the 512K. So 4 times as much RAM. And some improvements, and then of course they brought out the 512KE, which had an 800K floppy drive rather than the original 400K. And then the next one that came out was the Mac Plus. Now this shares a lot in common with the original Mac, the 512K and the 512KE specifically. They've got the same analog board and power supply, so this is all the stuff all down this side is shared. They've got the same CRT, but Mac Plus added SCSI. And that is a really, really important thing, especially these days when we have these little SCSI emulators, which are so tiny. When you look at a Mac Plus that has no off-the-shelf option for an internal SCSI drive, you can connect up an external SCSI drive on these now using things like the little Zulu SCSI Pico. And someone made a variation of that where it sits kind of vertically, so it doesn't poke out as much. You can plug it on the back and then it sits upwards. And so, you know, the SCSI was a great addition to the Macintosh. And then the other really important thing was expandability. Came with 1 megabyte standard. That was 4 256K RAM sims, upgradable to 4 megabytes. And you've got to remember that 4 megabytes, unheard of back then. I mean, it was just crazy. You could have either 1, 2, 2.5, or 4 megabytes configurations in this. And it's amazing how many of these are just are still in the original 1 megabyte configuration. Thank you very much for that, hardware hacker. We will see if anyone rocks up. What was that? I got a Mac 512KE for cheap because it will work for a second if you slap the side. Well, yes, we all know what that is. Cracked solder joints. Basically what I say to everyone with these computers. It is the most common fault you'll find with these is cracked solder joints. That's the original 128K, the 512K, 512KE Plus SE, SE30, even Classic and Classic 2, you know, cracked solder joints, very, very common. So anyhow, I'm going to have a little bit of a look inside. Oh, I should also mention that during this week or last week or sometime, I've also been experimenting with programming ROMs. So I did my first Mac Plus ROMs the other day. So the ROMs are available on the interwebs. Whether that's legal or not is a bit of a grey area. These are old, obsolete computers. So my argument would be, you know, who's being ripped off by this? No one. But ultimately, you can download those ROMs, and then you need, because on a Mac Plus there are two ROMs, there's a low and a high. You need to get that ROM and split it into two, and it splits so that like every odd and even sort of piece of data. So it's like data piece of 1 there goes 2 there, 3, 4, 5. So it splits in that regard. And then and I did that, and it worked, and I'm really, really happy with that. And I just the other day got hold of some other chips, and I think they are for the Color Classic or Classic 2. It might be both, I'm not sure, but I've got some more chips so that I can start doing some more ROM programming, which is fun. I like doing that. And I might even start making them available to some folks. Sorry about the wobble of the table there. But all right, so back comes off the Mac Plus. Got this stupid little, what do you like, kind of earthy, shieldy thing. Oh, it's broken. A piece of plastic is broken. Might be able to repair that. Must have taken a knock at some stage, because I'll tell you what, those the plastics in these are usually pretty good. Right, so I'm going to whip out the Logic board. It's a little bit dirty, but yeah, see, this is the original 256 config. So this here has got 4 256 megabyte, sorry, the original 1 megabyte config. So it's 4 256s. So this has never been upgraded. And it is still, I'm just checking here with my, what do my elven eyes see? Yep. So this little little resistor up here, I can't see it very well from there. Maybe if I do a top view. Let's try that. There we go. That's a bit better. So you've got this little RAM size here. That chip would need to be, sorry, the resistor would need to be cut. So you would actually need to snip that if you wanted to install more RAM in it. So if you were going to upgrade this to 4, you would snip that, and then you'd put, instead of 4 256s, put 4 1s in place there. But am I going to clean it? Probably. Maybe. Hi, Charlie. John Harmer, hello there. Welcome. So, yeah, so this is the Mac Plus Logic board. It's actually in pretty good condition. I mean, all things considered, stuff I get from this guy is usually as rusty as shit, but this is not too bad. This will definitely get ultrasonically cleaned. I mean, it works, but it'll get ultrasonically cleaned. Interesting thing about these, it has all these little capacitors. Not all of them are this way, but there's a capacitor there. And you can see that they're sort of like grey in the middle and orange on either side. And they're actually a little ceramic capacitor inside a little glass tube with leads. So they've actually turned a surface mount ceramic capacitor into a through-hole capacitor, which is like, it's just an indication of how things were being manufactured back then. Everything is through-hole. So yeah, there's no surface mount stuff anywhere, which I hate. I hate through-hole soldering. I'm definitely a surface mount person. Here, you can see there's a component missing, and this was, I have a few theories on this, but this is a diode that supplies power to SCSI, termination power to the SCSI, 5 volts. Mega hello there. Yeah, it's a whopper of an IC, isn't it? Well, that's what the old 68040 used to look like. Sorry, 68000, 68K used to look like. That was the first iteration, and then, of course, they started making them smaller. They turned them into a PLCC chip, which meant that they could actually have pins around all 4 sides. But yeah, it's a whopper. It's a whopper. So yeah, there's no diode here, and I have a theory as to why there's no diode here. And the diode would supply SCSI termination power to the SCSI port. Now, that's fine if you're using old-fashioned SCSI that's powered on its own, but if you want to use something like a Zulu SCSI or a Blue SCSI, you need that termination power. Now, you can get it back on by putting a diode there, which is something I do to every Mac Plus I run across. But you have to ask yourself the question, why didn't they put it on? Why didn't Apple include this resistor in the first place? And my theory behind this, no one's ever told me it's right or wrong, and don't. I like my theory. Yeah. Is they didn't put any form of fuse in this circuit. All of the later ones that have this termination power have a fuse for that termination power. And there's no fuse here. So my feeling is that they were worried that if someone accidentally shorts the SCSI, they're going to fry the SCSI chip. So they were like, well, we'll just take away the 5-volt power, and then in later revisions we'll put a fuse in line, and then we can power the SCSI termination. That is my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, Steve is here. Hello there. That's all right. You're allowed to be late. This is Steve from Mac 84, everyone. He's allowed to be late. He sets the time. He sets the time that he arrives at things. They start when he arrives. It's as simple as that. So anyhow, that's my Mac Plus logic board. All works perfectly. Everyone is happy. Had an interesting question. Someone asked me the other day on one of my Brankus posts on Facebook, and I need to actually reply and explain this. But when I was talking about the fact that I was making ROMs, he said, "Oh, could you use that to turn an original Macintosh SE into an SE FD-HD?" And of course, the short answer to that is yes, but the long answer is it's the ROMs and another chip. And I'm not sure which chip it is, but it's the SWIM chip or the IWM chip or something like that, one of those. Jeff is here. Hello there. Thank you for joining. Stay long, but I'm pumping myself up for some Mac Plusage. Yeah, well, it is definitely one of my favourites, and I'm basically just singing the praise of it. Now, what were some of the problems with the Mac Plus? I better just zoom this camera out. We're a bit zoomed in, aren't we? Some of the problems with you can see on my mess, the problems with the Mac Plus were, of course, that the power supply had to come in two versions, an international and a US version. The US version being oh, that's why I wasn't getting any image. It's got no flyback transformer in there. That's a very good reason for it not having an image. We'll have to rate a flyback transformer or something else. Yeah, I've got a power supply here I can rate a flyback from. All good. So, yeah, so they had to make two different versions of this, whereas when they brought out the Macintosh SE, they brought out that universal power supply that just bolts onto the board, and that one there can accept 110 volts, 240 volts, 230, whatever. But this one here is a 240 volt or 230 volt international version. It says it on it. Yes, it says right there. It just says international. I mentioned this at the beginning of the live stream, but I do need to mention again to anyone who's joined recently, I apologise for my runny nose. I think it's allergies. I was doing a lot of yard work yesterday, and I think that's inflamed my sinuses. And for anyone who wants to see what I was doing in the yard, there is the chicken enclosure that I'm in the process of building at the moment. So anyhow, how's this view? Let me just check this view. Is this view any good? Well, it shows all my mess, but it shows the Mac Plus fairly well, doesn't it? Yes, sorry. I might just change the angle of this, though, a bit. There we go. So I've got to put a flyback transformer on here, and then we'll probably see the problem that I had before. And the problem I had before was the problem with the vertical sweep, which we need to resolve. I have got here a bunch of documentation, upside down. This has schematics of the vertical sweep circuit of this particular computer. It also has a couple of pages from the Dead Mac Scrolls where it goes in and talks about some of the most common failings with the vertical sweep circuit. So we'll I'll have a look at those as well. I did it on paper because it's just a lot easier for me. Breathing in too much flux. David R, hello there, welcome. So anyhow, I guess one of the first things I have to do with this is whip it off and get a flyback transformer on it, because we're not going to get much happening without it. Oh, I do need to restore the floppy as well. It squeaks! I'll take that out now, actually, because it annoys the crap out of me. Every time I switch it on, it squeaks, and I'm like, oh, is that the computer or is it something else? Okay, let's just grab a screwdriver and we'll whip that out. Excuse me. Oh, that's the wrong size screwdriver. I know which screwdriver it needs, and I think it's actually outside because I've been using it for stuff I've been doing with the chicken coop. Just move this out of the way. Right. Sorry about the state of my desk. You know what they say. Dirty desk, dirty mind. Something like that. Is that really what they say? Okay, just looking for a particular... There it is. Found it. Be careful with the yoke against the desk. It's very good advice, that. I really don't want to break another CRT. I've done definitely more than my fair share lately. And it's like, I guess it's a hazard of the hobby, but yeah. It's just the most horrible feeling when you just hear that and you go, ah, crap. Shall I put it down on its face? That would be the easiest and the safest. Now, ultimately, I don't have any spare flyback transformers. I am having to rob from one to support another because I don't have any spares. So I'll need to try and source some spares. Either that, or maybe one day in the future I'll just convert one of these into a LCD version. Yeah. Okay, let's just take this out with a fair degree of care. That was not a fair degree of care. Oh, I haven't got room for both of these. You can go there. Oh, I've got a sneeze coming. Look out. Whew. Went away. Alright, so let's just have a look at this from the top. Alright, there's the Mac Plus analog board, and there's the spot where the flyback transformer should be. Some of the common failing points on this are this guy here, Q2. If you've got a completely dead one, which is quite common, I'd be always looking a lot for these resistors along the bottom here. Namely, this is one that does fail quite commonly. This is one of the ones that fails because these overheat, because they don't have a fan in them. Hello, Josh Hayes. Sorry, I'm just gonna do this little backsoon thing and blow my nose again. I do apologise to everyone. I don't like having to do this, but it's just how it is at the moment. Sorry about that. So, I was basically fine this time yesterday, and then I did some yard work. I was working in the yard. And then I started getting a bit sniffly last night, and then this morning it's just crazy. Recapping a 512 Mac analog board Sunday. That is awesome. I may end up recapping this now because, well, it needs it. It's a 50 squazillion years old. I've already replaced this capacitor here and this capacitor here, but I think that's it. All of these ones here are all still original. Yeah, so I'm going to get hold of the flyback transformer, which I'm going to steal from... Oh god, not this one. This one's probably dead too. Come here. This is the earlier version of the flyback transformer. This is the one you'll find on the original 128K and some of the 512s, not all of them. It's a lot thinner. So I'm not going to grab that one. I think it works, but I won't grab that one. Or maybe I just should. It'll work. May as well. It's here. I'll just grab this one. Get my trusty soldering iron. I hope everyone's had a chance to check out the review I did of this soldering iron or soldering station. I have been very, very happy with it. Very, very good heat. Nice, nice cartridge tips. Compatible with the old, was it JCB, JBC, JV, VHS? I can't remember. So this this analog board here, if I think it's the one that I think it is from 512K, and that 512K is mostly working. It's got a RAM upgrade, and that RAM upgrade is not showing all of the RAM that it's supposed to. It's a 1 megabyte RAM upgrade, and it's only showing 896 megabytes of RAM. So 128K is missing. Ended up buying that soldering iron thanks to your review. Happy with it so far. I'm very, very pleased to hear it. I would be very surprised to hear anyone not happy with it. There's really not much I can fault about it. A few people really didn't like the tip cleaning thing, the little brass brush. But what I've ended up making for if and when this brass brush gets all dirty and can't be used anymore, I ended up making this, 3D printing this. So it's a little holder that's designed to fit into the same spot. So it just slots in, and it just uses this brass wool stuff, which I really like using. Some people don't like using the brass. They like using little sponge and stuff like that. But the brass is what I like to use. I just find it the most effective. Yeah, I'll definitely share that model. 100%. That's what we say in Australia for yes. 100%. Yeah, nah, 100%. Nah, yeah, nah. Yeah, nah, yeah, 100%. Right. So this is our pokey little flyback transformer. It is rather unfortunate that you cannot get hold of these flyback transformers anymore. The only place you're going to get them is raiding them from an old board. About to sneeze. Went away. Sorry about this, folks. It is very inconvenient. It's inconvenient for you. It's inconvenient for me. It's just inconvenient having all this sneezy going on. Okay. Now, what I do know about this is that if the vertical sweep is a bit iffy, I think we can end up getting some very, very high temperatures up around this area that I am at the moment. So I have to keep an eye out for that because I don't want to cook anything. I like the 512K in that I have one in my collection and I think it's an important part of Apple history, so it's good to have it. But I would much rather use a Mac Plus than a 512K. Having that extra RAM just makes all the difference. In terms of operating systems that I would run on a Mac Plus, oh, Jay is here from the House of Moth. Welcome. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, look at that. Jay destroyed my thread. He has that effect. My train of thought has just gone. I've just got to get this into the right holes. There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, the OS I prefer. Thank you. Yes. So if I'm using a Macintosh Plus or an SE for that matter, typically 608. But if I'm feeling like I want a System 7, in other words, don't have to deal with things like the font DA mover and stuff like that, 701, but no further than that. I would definitely not go any higher than 701 on a Mac Plus or an SE. God, my nails need cutting. Look at that. That's ridiculous. Sorry about the sniffles, everyone. It's very unpleasant, I know. Whoopsie. Okay, that's in? Yep. Okay, so just to recap anyone who's wondering what I'm doing at the moment, this computer, this Mac, had a bad flyback transformer. That is confirmed. It's got a short in it. It's cactus. So I've removed it because it's dead. And it might be able to get fixed up and restored by someone who has the knowledge. That's not me. I have no idea how to open them up. I have no idea. I mean, I guess they're a transformer, so I guess they need to be rewrapped. But I don't even know how to open them up without destroying them. But so obviously one of the main problems with this, no flyback transformer. But even when I put a good flyback transformer on it, I was getting problems with the vertical sweep. And so I would just feel a lot better knowing that I have resolved that issue, even if it doesn't have a flyback transformer. A Mac 512KE with the Mac Snap SCSI and 2MB RAM upgrade is basically a plus. Yeah, so let me show you what I have. It's not Mac Snap. It's actually made by a company here in Australia called Zyber. The guy who sort of started Zyber, he's still operating in Australia. He does data recovery, XYBER. And this is it here. You can see Zyber. During this time, they were making upgrades. They were making hard drives. As I say, Australian company, Australian dude. I actually want to try and secure an interview with him, but last time I contacted him, his father had just died. And so it wasn't really a good time to ask for an interview. But this is one of the things that he created and sold, and it is a Zyber. Well, I guess it must be 2 megabytes. Excuse me. Because you've got 512 on the board, then you've got another 512 here, and then I guess that's another 512 there. So this would take you up to 2 megabytes. Yeah, so that's what I have, and it doesn't work properly. It works mostly. It gives me 896. It's got that in, but it doesn't have SCSI. Okay, so that's a very important thing. This one does not have SCSI. Greg's here. Hello there. We're displaying your voice here. Display. So, if anyone is wondering why I put extra A's in the word display in the thumbnail, it's because this is tissue ready to blow my nose. That's a clean one. Okay, that's not a soiled one. Was Tim Cook. When Tim Cook used to do the keynotes and stuff like that, and he would talk about display, and he'd have sort of his southern drawl where he goes, this is a nice display. And I got one of those videos once and I slowed it right down so he's going, display. And that just became a bit of a thing on the old Mac Yak show back in the day. I'm just going to do the, you know what, I could probably just mute. Sorry about my runny nose, everyone. It is allergies. So my endeavour is to get this sorted out as well, and then I'll have a nice, functional, upgraded 512K. I've got to buy all these chips. I've got to buy a lot of chips, and I suspect there's some fault in some of these. So I mean, I might need to see if I can get a RAM tester so that I can go in and test each one of these, and test all the ones under here as well. I've replaced I've removed all of the RAM from this and replaced them with sockets. So, watch CRT neck. Where? It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. Alrighty. So what was I going to do? Oh, that's right, analog board. Let's check and make sure that's all plugged in. I don't have my discharging screwdriver here. I don't know where it's gone. It has literally just disappeared. It's been sucked into an alternative universe. But I've got this discharging screwdriver which I use, and it's got a wire attached to it, and it attaches to my metal bench here, and I can't find it. It's just disappeared. I don't know how that happened. God, there are so many dickheads in the world. Just listening to someone driving down the road bipping their horn. All right, let's get the little flyback transformer into the little hole of the CRT here. You've got to be careful with these, just in case Jeff is still watching. He broke one while trying to remove it. Okay. I think we're in. Yeah. Oh, crap. We were nearly there. I think I might need my better glasses. I'm wearing my glasses that are good for distance, but not good for close-up stuff. Yeah, now we're in. Okay, so that's the anode cap in. We've got that connected there, that connected there, that connected there. Can't power it up yet, though, because I haven't got a logic board connected to it. Where'd I put the logic board? Anyone? Ah, here it is. Up on the ultrasonic cleaner, best place for it, because that's where it's going to end up eventually. The Mac Plus analog board, by the way, just slots in here. In case you're not aware, there is little grooves, and it just slides into the grooves. However, one exception to that is if your Mac has an upgrade, the upgrade you generally can't get past this gap. I'll just stop where the upgrade's sticking out. When that happens, there really is only one option, that is to bend the sides of this case out. So you just got to bend the metal. It bends quite easily. Just bend the metal out till you can pull the board off the back, and then you just need to bend it back in for when you and put it back again. It's pretty straightforward. I have encountered it before. Right, now let's see what we get. What I totally expect at this stage, I should get my thermal camera. Here it is. Because I just need to keep an eye on it, make sure it's not having some sort of runaway heat explosion. YouTube does have top fans now. They have had that going now for probably about a month, and I have no freaking idea how the score changes. Because people just, sometimes they're just going crazy in the chat, and they're still sitting there at like number 4 or something, and then someone writes something once and they're at number 1. And it's like, how is this calculated? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I promise there's a very little chance that this is going to blow up, okay? So don't panic, everyone. I'll be fine. Yes, fine. Right. So what I totally expect to see at this stage is a problem with the vertical sweep. So I'll just change to the side view. I don't have a foot pedal for that. On and off pedals there. There's only 3 pedals here. Side. There we go. And I'm going to plug this into 230 volts of finest quality Australian electricity. And lovely loud chime. Can't complain about that. Just going to play around with the yeah. Oh, that's better than I had before. That's almost complete. It's definitely the vertical sweep. But it was all mushed up here before, but now it's all the way down here. So that's kind of nice. I like that. But it still is definitely the vertical sweep. So when you've got a horizontal line like this, If your image has been compacted into a horizontal line, that's vertical sweep. So we've still got some stuff to figure out here, but that is way, way better than I was expecting. Now, we even have a thing in here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we are. Now, this is the reverse of it. But this is from the, what do you call that crap? What is this thing called? Dead Mac Scrolls. So this one here, it's saying the problems that you can potentially have is resistor R3 and transistor Q1. Now I'm pretty sure Q1's all right. We've checked that or replaced it. So we're definitely going to have a look at resistor 3. That's a misprint. There's a misprint on this. Because it says resistor 3 in the words, but the diagram says R1. So anyhow, it's going to be resistor 1 or resistor 3. I've got a schematic, so we can always check that. Just going to check the... Yeah, better heat getting generated around the BU406NPN transistor, power transistor. I'd really love to be able to discharge this before I pull it apart. So let me see what I can find. See if I can sneeze. I see you have a machine that goes ping. It's the most expensive machine that goes ping. Okay. What are we going to do? We're going to... I mean, this little discharging screwdriver has to just be here somewhere. Because why would I have got rid of it? Starting to warm up here, by the way. Feeling pretty happy about that. Now that spring has sprung. Just looking for my discharging thingy. I'll get creative if I can't find it. I mean, it's not that hard to make your own. I'll just get myself a screwdriver and some wire. Here's a screwdriver. Huh. Can I even cut wire with that? Looks like it will. Sort of. God, it looks very cutty, but no. Doesn't quite meet in the middle. I think it's something designed for cutting tiles or something like that. How about this? That looks nice, snippy. That'll do it. Nice, satisfying, snippy sound. Okay, so we're going to make our own little makeshift discharging thingamaboob. Yes, this is very true. So, I mean, look, I guess at the end of the day, when it comes to this sort of weather at spring, what is great about this is a sort of weather where you don't need air conditioners and you don't need heaters, you don't need cooling. You can just open up a window and enjoy the weather that it is outside. 17. It's actually cooler than I thought it was here. But it's forecast on Monday to get up to 29. So, you know, it's that's I think about 86 or something like that. I'm not terribly good on my Fahrenheitses or Fahrenlows. See what I did there? I'm just stripping a lot of this wire, and because I'm going to wrap it around this what do you call this? What do you call these things? That's a shelf around the leg of it, and I want it to wrap all the way around. Is there, or have you ever tried to repair a flyback transformer? Is that possible? Hello, Jeff. Yeah, I was actually just mentioning this a little while ago, and ultimately the answer is I have never tried. The longer answer is that people do it. People do that. But one of the issues I have when I look at these, I don't even know how to get into them. I mean, ultimately, they're just wire wraps inside there, so I guess you can pull it apart and you can put new wire on and stuff like that. The whole idea is just to make sure you have the same thickness of wire and the same length of wire. I have rewrapped transformers before, and it has worked, but yeah, in terms of in terms of me doing it, I don't know. But I know that some people do it. I mean, do you break? Do you have to snap them and put a new case on them or something? I don't know. I just don't even know how to get into them. I know nothing. Okay, so I'm just getting this wire, and I'm just going to wrap it around the shaft of this screwdriver. Just like that, so it's not going anywhere. It's all, which camera? That camera. It's all just wrapped around there, like that. And then I'm going to get the other end, and I'm going to wrap it. Oh! Okay, I found my old wire, but there's nothing attached to it. So there's my old wire from my old one, but I'm going to do a new one now. Okay. Probably stripped a little bit more wire than I needed to here, but not to worry. I would love it if there was like a what do you call it, flyback transformer repair service out there. I really would. Okay, nothing, no zap, no bzzzt, bzzzt, bzzzt. There we go. You can go there. The screwdriver, because I'm having a lot of trouble with words today. The screwdriver, I'm still having trouble. The thing that I used as the discharging tool, it was an old flathead screwdriver like this one, like a Stanley one, but the tip was just a bit busted, so it kind of wasn't working very well as a screwdriver. So it was a really good candidate for a discharge tool, but I'm just not sure where it's ended up. All right. One Bit Fever Dreams, hello there. Well, anyone who likes a bit of 1-bit will like the Mac Plus, the old 1-bit display. Now, what I was chatting to Jeff Geerling this morning. So he was contemplating about, he's got two compact Macs. He's got a Mac Classic and a Mac Plus. And he was talking about, he wants to keep one of them but not both because of storage. And he was asking which one should I keep. And the thing about that I find interesting is it really depends on who you're talking to and what their priorities are. So the Mac Plus, one of the big advantages that it's got is it was made quite well, whereas the Mac Classic was really made on a budget. They cut a lot of corners so they could release that, and they released it as the very first sub $1,000 Macintosh. So they sold it for $999. Now, admittedly, that's not the configuration you really should have bought, because that one was a floppy drive only. It was just a computer with a floppy and no hard drive inside. It would make more sense with a Mac Classic to spend a little bit more and get a hard drive inside. But they were really trying to pump out that thing on a budget. And the advantages that a Mac Classic has, it's got a 1.4 megabyte floppy drive, whereas the Mac Plus has only got 800K. It's got internal SCSI in the Mac Classic, whereas there's only external SCSI on the Mac Plus. So I can definitely see the advantages of sticking with a Mac Classic rather than a Mac Plus. But the Mac Plus is better made, in my opinion. It's older, but it is better made. And if it was up to me deciding between those two models, I would keep the Mac Plus. I don't care about the 800K floppy drive because I tend not to use floppies on the vintage Macs anymore. I just use SCSI emulators. If it's an old 512K, I'll be using something like a Floppy MU or something like that. And if I'm, using a Mac Plus, I'll be using probably in this instance a Zulu SCSI, because as much as I like the blue SCSI external, this is one here, it is fairly chunkus. There's a thing called the Zulu SCSI Pico Slim, and that's tiny. So if you're going to have one hanging out the back, you want it the smallest possible. So if I was using a Mac Plus, I'd just be using it with a SCSI emulator. So I wouldn't really care about the 1.4 megabyte floppy drive. But the other advice I gave to Jeff was, and this is just me being me. My advice sometimes get a bit annoying. My advice was to get rid of both of them and get hold of a Macintosh SE, because in my opinion, SE shits on both of them. So. SEFDHD if you're wanting the floppy drive, the bigger floppy drive. But they've got a better power supply in the SE. They've got the internal SCSI. They've got some expandability. I just think they're worth the SE is worth going with. All right, so now it is time to see if we can find out what's going on with this vertical sweep circuit. So he's recommending we're either looking at R3. And he makes no mention of it being a different one on the Australian one, but he's talking about R3, Q5, Q1. Now, let's just first of all check and make sure they're the same on the international board. So Q5, there's Q2. Is Q2 the same on this one? Let's have a look. Q2 is MPSU51, and I don't think that is the same. It is one of the downsides to having the two versions of the board. Yeah, I guess it all depends on what you want to do with it at the end of the day. 1-bit fever dreams. Hello there to Aiden ACW Whitehair. My apologies. You're new to the channel. Most welcome. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Aiden. Is your interest primarily in vintage computers, or is it in vintage Macs, or is it in tech restoration, or whatever the case may be? Please do share, as you are new to the channel. Okie dokie. So, R3, eh? R3. That's R3 up there. That's Q1. What was it saying is Q1? Q1 is MPS U01 transistor. The position's right. We can check this little transistor. I've already had him out. I've already had both of these out, so I think we can fairly safely say it's not that. It looks like I've had R3 out as well. But I might replace R3 anyway, only because I have had instances where I've tested resistors and they've been okay, but when I run power through them, they don't work so good. Right, I'm just going to remove this R3 here. And if this doesn't work, screw you guys, I'm going home. I hope it does, though. There we go. So, as I was saying at the very beginning of this live stream, I'm going to be replacing this camera very, very soon. Hopefully the replacement will actually give me a slightly better image. I'm just waiting for the camera to arrive from... I think it's coming from the States, actually. I think it might already be in the country, but just hasn't come to me yet. Oh, excuse me. I am going out for dinner tonight, and I'm going to one of my favourite restaurants that serves German food. So I'll be having a schnitzel. And some langosh bread. Come on, little resistor. I think I might need some tweezers for this. Right, let's have a look at this little resistor, and we'll check and see if it's resisting. Is someone going to make a Star Trek joke? Resistance is futile. Come on, someone make a Star Trek joke. Oops. Oops. That's what happens when you put a board on a keyboard. You suddenly find yourself launching Apple Music. Okay. This is my little... Yep. It's my little multimeter here. It's got some splidge on the screen, which we'll just clean away. Come on, out you come. Alcohol. There we go. Oh, man. When you got any cuts on your hand, you certainly discover them when you start handling alcohol. Ow! Ow! Got a little cut on my finger just there from when I was building the chicken cage yesterday. Ow! The only Star Trek joke I have. Come on, Jay. We know how much of a Star Trek fan you are. He's a closet Star Trek fan. He doesn't want anyone to know, but he loves it. Live long and prosper. There's got my logo. Yay. Right. Now let's just check this to make sure we've got the right thing. He is saying that this is a 1.5 ohm. No, that's R1. R3. R3? Yeah, 1.5 ohm. 1.5 ohm. So we'll just check that and make sure we've got the right component. Now, I am a lazy person, and I don't memorize any of these codes. So I use a little app called Resistor Toolkit, and this is a 4-band. So we select a 4-band, and oh man, I can't see anything. Hang on. Is that red or brown? Brown, green, gold, gold. We'll try that. Could be red. Brown, green, gold, gold. 1.5 ohm. There we go. So you can't read that because it's way too small, but 1.5 ohm. It says 1.5 ohm. There we go. So let's just check and see if it is 1.5 ohms. 8 and it's 13. I shall try not to say anything rude and offensive. But thank you very much for joining. I do have a tendency to sometimes say things rude and offensive, so I apologise in advance. But not too bad, you know. I mean, I think it's within the realms of... It can't be any worse than stuff that gets said at school, don't you reckon? Well, this is definitely reading within range, 1.75 ohms, and we want 1.5. I'll just see if I've got a replacement, because I'm going to replace it anyway. You probably are the youngest person watching this. Just going to move this to protect the CRT. I don't want to kick it and break it, because I just keep breaking CRTs lately, and I don't feel good about it. 10 ohms. 15 ohms. Do I have anything smaller than 10 ohms? Probably got some... let's have a look here. 1,200 ohms. There we go. 1 mega ohm. 6. Oh, okay. I've got a 1.2. Oh, 1.5. Look at that. I might have already replaced this for all we know. Anything is possible. It is me after all. Okay. Come on. Has anyone found a good way of storing large quantities of resistors? Like that doesn't take up huge amounts of space, but it's still easy to find things? Because I'll tell you what, I haven't. And I know you can use little drawers and stuff like that, but they take up a huge amount of space for very tiny little things. Right, so let me have a look. This may be... Yeah, I suspect I have already replaced this. This looks too new to me. Yeah. It definitely looks like it's already been replaced. So I'm you know, going over ground that I've already covered. Like a silly person. I will test this transistor as well. But I'm pretty sure I've already tested it. And then what that then means, if it's not these, we're going to have to look at the old schematic and see if we can find something else. Q5, 2N5485, Q5. Okay. Just want to check Q5. My snips. I took my snips outside. So I've been cutting, I've got another pair of snips here, I just have to find them. I've been cutting chicken wire. And so, actually no, it wasn't chicken wire, I was cutting cable ties. And so my little snips ended up outside. If I can't find my second pair, I'll have to go out and get them. I'm going to have to go out and get them because I can't be bothered continuing to search this messy desk. So just bear with me a minute while I walk out. My sound may disappear when I go out of range, but we'll just see what happens. I can see the snips. They're just there. Yay! One. Coming back with my snips. Whew. I am very, very sore. Today I was doing a lot of physical work yesterday and it took it out of me. Shoveling. A lot of shoveling. Justin is here. Hello there, Justin. Welcome. So, let's have a look here at the schematic for the vertical circuit. Interesting, isn't it? You can almost use this the way it is. Maybe I just don't even worry about it. No, I'm only joking. Because the other thing is just really important with this is the capacitors on this are ancient and they might just need replacing. Excuse me. U1. Now, what was he talking about? He was talking about Q1 and Q4. Let's see if we can find those on this little diagram. Q1, there we are. And R3, okay, so those two connected. So R3 we just replaced, we know that's good. What else have we got in this? We've got R2. R2D2. R2 is also 1.5. That looks like I've replaced him as well. So that's fine. CR3 and CR2 are diodes. There's those ones there. Look, I'm sure they go, but I haven't really... They're Zener diodes by the looks of it. I've never really had any of those go, but they probably do. Thomas, hello there. Sorry I'm late. Hockey season, fair enough. And we definitely don't do hockey out here. It's never cold enough. I think there are probably some small hockey teams, but I can tell you one thing for sure. Australia is not a dominant force in hockey. Okay. Vertical deflection R4. Probably should check that as well, because that's the vertical deflection column. So I would probably be inclined to check R4 and R11. And then I'd probably be looking at some of these caps as well, because they could be ancient. And I think I really would like to have a look at Q1. What's U1? U1. Oh, it looks like it's an IC. U1. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins on it at least. Oh, I got a cockroach on here. Run away, cockroach. Because we find nothing but trouble here. So I replaced that cap. That's one of mine. Was that C18? What did I say I wanted to change? C6, C5. I'll just have to replace everything on this schematic and then we'll be fine. I found my Game Boy Color parts after my stream last night. I said, I missed your stream last night. I do apologise, Justin. I think I saw like a few minutes and then I had to go somewhere, do something. Probably build my chicken thing. Build my chicken cage. Right. Aim of the main scores voltage across R11 portion of the current flow of the yoke and the voltage offset by CPU 5 volt. R4 is a dummy load. R4. Where's R3? Where's R4? R4 should be around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. He's hiding underneath this other capacitor. So R4. Okay, I don't think I've touched R4, so let's check that one out, shall we? Yes, let's. Yeah. It's only a cockroach. I don't want him to mess up my board. I'll squish him and mess up my board. Can't be having that. So I don't know if you can notice, but the image here is like really blue, and that's because this camera is constantly trying to white balance, and that doesn't really work out with what I'm doing, because I constantly find myself in situations where I'm working with stuff that is like all the same color. So when you try and white balance when you're looking at something like this, which is all green, it's just never going to work out. So what I typically do with this camera is I switch off the automatic white balance. I use the automatic white balance, but I use it only when I switch the camera on. So the camera comes on, I get it to look at something white, and I get it to set that white balance and remain unchanged. But, whoopsie, because this camera is not remembering its settings, it's constantly trying to white balance, and that's just annoyance. Okay, so R4 is a 100 ohm by the looks of it. Let's just check that. Pop you over there while I get some space. And brown, black, brown, gold. Get a little app. Mark Henning, hello there. Oh yes, the Bruceinator always comes out with the through-hole stuff. Okay, so brown, black, brown. $100 ohms it is. Let's just check and see if this is reading at 100 ohms. Probably could test this in circuit, but you know, I can't see, it's blurry. Oopsie. It's testing at 100 ohms. Going to replace it anyway, though. Had this situation a while ago with a Mac. Mac 2FX power supply, and I tested every single resistor in it, and then I got to the point where it wasn't working, so I just started replacing the resistors one at a time, and all of a sudden, it just works. That's K, 1K, 43, 62, 91, 100. Oh, geez, I've only got great big fat ones. Have I got a little one there? Oh, I've got a little one there. It's okay. There we go. A little resistor. Now this is a 5-band rather than a 4-band, so the colouring on this is a little bit different. But I will check before I put it in to make sure it is. So this is brown, black, 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 brown. 5-band, brown, black, 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 brown. 100 ohms. There we go. 'Tis the right one. Mike's Future Retro. Hello there. J-Dub, hello there. Dava Arfin? I'm not sure about that. Australia, one of the strongest countries in field hockey. Oh, yes, sorry. I should actually just mention that that's a very important thing to say. Australia is a force to be reckoned with like the warm hockey rather than the cold hockey. But generally, when I'm ever talking to someone who is from United States or Canada or that area, when someone just says hockey, they're talking about ice hockey. Devarfin. Is it Devarfin? We'll see. Do a 2CI power supply conversion a while ago. I think you used a custom board so that was a 2SI mic. And I was using a custom board that uses 2 power supplies. One is a 12 volt power supply, and the other one is a what do you call those? A Pico ATX, and the Pico ATX converts the 12 volts into 12 plus 5 minus 5. All of the normal ATX power supplies. And so that was supplied by Will from KMac, but it's my understanding that he's come up with something better than that. But that was a 2SI, not a 2CI. Interesting thing about the 2SI is that it is functionally usable in a 2CI, as in it outputs the same voltages to the same pins. It's got the same soft power, all that sort of stuff. But the 2SI is a very different shape power supply to a 2CI. So you can actually use a 2SI for testing a 2CI, but you can't fit it in the case. So, Devarfin, there you go. Okay, got to make sure we get these things right. Okay, just pop a new little resistor in there. I don't expect this to have any difference at all. I really don't think I've found I've come to the meat of this problem yet, but I've got a live stream to do, and that's all about faffing around. And of course, if I get nowhere with this and I get bored with it or frustrated, which of course happens, why isn't that sticking? I'm a bit concerned about this resistor. Oh no, there we go. Sometimes when the metal on these gets a little bit corroded, solder just doesn't want to stick to it. But just a little bit of extra heat here, and that's it's doing the job. There we go. Hello, I80386SX. All right. So, I've replaced this resistor in this resistor. I could check these diodes. I don't actually know how to properly test a Zener diode, because a Zener diode, for those that aren't aware of it, they only allow flow in one direction until they reach a certain voltage, and then they allow flow in both directions. If I could be talking nonsense there, but I believe that is the case. So I don't know how to test that when they're doing their thing, but I'm just going to, which one do I press? Diode, there we go, diode mode. So I'm just going to check the normal diode mode, allowing the flow in only one direction. G'day. Okay, 0.6. 0.5. No, this isn't really helping me, unfortunately. I'd have to test these outside of circuit. I'm not getting a good result testing them in circuit. Right. I'm going to continue with this and have a look. Oh, was this? Yeah, this is the one. What have we got? CR2, CR3. That's our diodes. And I really should replace a few caps while I'm here as well. What's that one? C6. Where does he fit in? Beep, 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 beep. There's C6. Oh, he's right in the danger zone. I might check him out. C6 and R58. Where's R58? That's R6. Is that yeah, that's R6. So, what was it? I just said it. R58. That's a big number, R58. It's going to be like on the other side of the board or something. R1. R58. R58. Where are we? It's got to be down here somewhere. That's a long way. 60. 55. 61. Come on, where's the system here? 52. There may not even be an R58. Oh no, there's got to be, because we've got an R61. But because the numbering is different on these, the international board, or for some of these components. R59. Come on, we've got to be getting close here. R59. Oh, R58's a variable. That's the trim pot. There we go. That's adjusting the, what is it, the something. No, that's not right. Yeah, the numbering's got to be different on this. This is the US board, and I've got the international board, because there's no indication on this that R58 is variable. It's just saying it's fixed. So it's probably whatever is joined to this capacitor here, which I can check. That's getting there, and that's going to, it looks like R3 or R2. I'm now getting really messed up with this whole international board, because I've got a sneaking suspicion this here is pointing to components which are not as they are on this board, but we'll worry about that. I can make sure they're not shorted. But I do want to replace this capacitor while I'm here. Because this is going directly to J1. Yeah. So I sort of feel like a very old capacitor like this could well be the issue. I mean, it may not be, but it could well be. So one of the real problems I have with working with analog boards is I get a bit shit scared with poking and prodding around on them with power running through them. So whereas I might be able to go through and test certain things while they're running, unless I know exactly where what I'm looking at, I'd rather not do that, because it does freak me out. all them high voltages and stuff. Where's that go? That's top right, so it'll be bottom left. Is that right? Does that seem right? Ah, I think I desoldered the wrong one. Silly me. Right, so I'm going to replace this capacitor, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it up again. I'm going to fire it up again, just so that everyone who has joined recently can see what the problem is. Because I sort of feel like, in particular, people who might be sort of wanting to help out, I think I need to indicate what the issue is. Here we are. No, we're not. Yeah, here we are. God, my neighbour listens to some shit music. Likes to broadcast it to the world too. What is happening? Now we have 2 1s. What? What? What have we? Oh yes. Oh, sorry. Jay is checking about the whole thing that happens with the top fans. So let me just have a look at this. There's a little thing I can click here. It says top fans. Okay, hardware hackers number 1, Dave's 2, Sabmac356 is 3, Francois is 4. It's interesting, the names that it comes up with here are not the normal names. Oh, you're a number 11, Jay. You're not even trying. It's so stupid, isn't it? Isn't it fantastic to have this little scoring system and absolutely no one understands how it works? Oh, where's my mouse? There it is. Oh, let me check and see where you are. Oh, you're nowhere. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you are. Let me have a look. No. Sorry. Sorry, JW, you're not there. Jeff Geerling is 12. I wonder if it's like how often you turn up or something like that. I don't know. Oh, in which case it wouldn't be Jay, because he keeps missing my live streams. He nags me all week. He says, when are you live streaming? When are you live streaming? And then I live stream and then he doesn't turn up. But he has today, so I thank him for that. Right. Let's whip this little capacitor out and see if I've got a replacement for it. I may not, but you never know. Here we go. So, this is the capacitor here. It is a 50 volts, 22 microfarad. Let's just have a look and see what I've got. Axial caps. Oh, 50, I've got a special spot for 50 volt axial. So, 2250, there we go. Is the old and the new. 2250. 2250. Yep. Now we've got to make sure that the negative is pointing in the opposite direction to the positive. These are polarized, these particular capacitors. So it is important that you put them on the right way around. Otherwise, it creates a little space-time rift that can potentially turn into a black hole on the planet Earth, which is a very bad thing. So we don't put capacitors on the wrong way. Whoopsie. Where's my mouse gone? Oh, it's stopped moving. That's where it went. Does that glue get hygroscopic? Which glue would you be referring to? Give me my patch back. I'm not sure if Super Chats have anything to do with it, to be honest. Because I think whoever was number one, I don't think they give me Super Chats either. Which glue are you referring to, Mega? Okay, so I've replaced that little cap. So isn't that nice? Yes, would that be nice? So R7, you know what? If you look, this here is showing. This comes along here to C6, and then it says here R58. Whereas on this, I think it's R7. R7. Brown. Let's just see what the colour is. I can't see because my eyes are old. This is brown, black, brown, gold. Let's check that. Brown, black, brown, gold. That is 100 ohms. Yeah, and that's what it says here. It's what it says. It's what it says. It's what it says. So I might replace that. Oh! Oh, no! I keep losing my mouse off the table. So I'll grab another 100. Hardware Hacker, thank you very much for that. Grabs the big lamp zapper. Hello, Gopherman96. Oh, look. Jay's number one again. Wowzers. Based on the number of chat messages. Having said that, I think they have to be spread out. I'm going to sneeze. Can I mute? Sorry. I tried to mute, but I couldn't mute in time. Foxhound477, hello. So, because I had one time where I was doing a chat and people were looking at their score there, and someone just started going chat, 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 chat. It was in jest. It's not like they were spamming it, but ultimately they were spamming it, and they were just doing message after message after message. It had no impact on their positioning. So it must be not just chat after chat after chat. It has to be intertwined with other discussions, would be my thinking. So, oh yeah, remember that time I sneezed in the middle of a live stream and Jay kept on grabbing that little snippet and putting it on there? Yeah, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Excuse me. Now, it was 100 ohms, which I did find, but I think I only had like one little one left. All the rest were big fat ones. Oh no, here's another one. Excuse me. Sorry about all my sniffles. Do apologise. Incidentally, this board has already had the reefer caps replaced. So they're the safety caps, the Class X and Class Y caps, and they've all been replaced, so we're better now. Yeah, we're fine now. How are you? Sorry, going to blow my nose, so just bear with me a second here. You can have a look at the chooks in the meantime. thank you to everyone for reminding me that my sound was off. Yeah. Now, what was I going to say? How long ago did I blow my nose? So, R7, which is just here, and that one is R58 on the schematic, but that's because this is an international board and the schematic is of the US board. So that's why we have this disparity in numbering. But I'm going to replace this resistor, even though I have no reason to think that it's bad, but it is in the circuit that is causing problems, and so I see no issue with just putting a new one in. And let's face it, the old one's very old. I am working on a new video at the moment, which I hope to have out in the not too distant future. Thank you, by the way. Thank you to I80386 for your super chat to tell me that the sound was bad. So I'm going to give that a little thumbs up. Thumbs up. And then, yay, we have audio. I'll give that a thumbs up. Thank you to Hardware Hacker for that. Yeah, so sorry about that. I muted, I put onto the chickens and I muted the sound so I could blow my nose so you didn't have to listen to the revolting sounds that makes. And then I just forgot to unmute myself. So my apologies to everyone. Thank you for persevering. But yeah, I'm working on a new video at the moment. It's a bit of a fun one and it's sort of a project video, and when I release it, I'm going to be very much looking for people's involvement in that, because I'm setting up a website and I'd love for people to actually visit that website once it's created. But yeah, so I will be working on that whatever spare time I have this weekend when I'm not building chicken enclosures. Or I'm also going out tomorrow. I'm going out for dinner tonight. Just, I've got a busy weekend actually. I don't know when I'm going to get to film this thing. I'll be able to film some of it anyway. You have the same wireless microphone. Is that as in, so are you talking about this one that I'm using here? So, no, not another Tinker Different. So I use this one here, the Rode Wireless Go 2. A lot of things I like about this. And then this microphone is just relatively cheap. I used to use a lavalier mic that I used to stick on my, or lavalier mic that I would put on my shirt. I had problems with them. Even though I was buying good quality ones, I had a few issues with them. First of all, sometimes when I'd turn my head around, the sound would go quiet, you know, because it was here. This one here, it just follows my face around. Yeah, so this is super handy. I've actually been using these ones that go over the ear for at least a year or two now. And although they make me look like a bit of a dick, they are definitely the most convenient thing for what I'm doing. Whether I be looking down the microscope or whether I'm talking straight to camera, if I'm turning away or whatever, it's just really, really handy to have the mic right there. The other problem is I get huge amounts of background noise because I'm basically in a shed in the backyard and with a great big tree here with birds and stuff like that. And so I get so many background noises and my neighbor listening to stupid music. And this means that you can listen to just my voice here. You know, and by having it so close to my mouth that you don't hear anything else that's happening out there. Well, you hear a lot less of it anyway. All right, so I'm going to put this together now, and we're just going to, you know, as I say, a bit of a refresher of what the problem is with this one. Ruben, is it Mejia? Ruben Mejia? Hello there, welcome. Sent an incoming super chat battle. Well, far be it from me to stop anyone from super chatting me, but there is no obligation. I'm certainly not in a situation where I'm sort of like, hey, give me the super chat money. I never complain when I get it, but I'm not, you know, I don't want people to feel like there's an obligation to do it. Get rid of all this gunk. Gunk, so much gunk. I'm using a pair of tweezers as a scraper. That's probably not the best thing, but never mind. music equals copyright strike. Not if I sing it. Are you ready? What song do you want to hear? I take requests. Audio cutting in and out. Okay, hang on. Let me know if that's any better. If not, I'll switch the unit off and switch it back on again. That sometimes fixes it. And if worst comes to the worst, I can always go and grab the other transmitter, because this little microphone thing has 2 transmitters. It's got a base station and 2 transmitters. Sounds fine? Good. Okay. You cannot get a strike singing it. I sing songs in my live stream all the time, and I've never got a single copyright strike. Okay. Okay, so the board that I'm working on is a Macintosh Plus analog board, and this is actually why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. Is I want to just, for anyone who has joined since I started, a little bit of a refresher and a recap, show what the problem is, and what I'm actually working on, and how I hope to fix it, and how long it'll be before I give up and start working on something else. So, I never like to let this stuff get the better of me, you know what I mean? I never want to end up getting stressed out by doing it. If it ain't doing what I want it to do, then I'll go do something else. Right. So here is this little blue thing here. That is a safety cap there. About to sneeze. And I think this might have been as well. And they've both been replaced with modern replacements, because those safety caps have a tendency to break. So here is the Mac Plus. The thing I find kind of curious about this one is it's got some sticky tape down on either side. So someone probably had a label here on front of the Mac Plus at some stage. I wish I knew what the label was. Right, now this anode cap is a real bitch to get on, so just bear with me. I figured out the best way to do it last time. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hit It With a Hammer by Joe's Computer Museum. I can't say I know that one. Smoke on the Water, yeah. They all came down from Montreal. I don't know the words. I know the chorus. And I have to admit, with my blocked nose at the moment, my singing voice isn't exactly at its best, at its peak. Smoke on the water. All right, so here is my Mac Plus. I'm going to plug it in, fire it up, and we're going to see how it looks. Make sure I haven't got any little stray bits of metal here. So, problem number one with this is it had a dead flyback transformer. That flyback transformer, yes, allergies, it is allergies. And it had a dead flyback transformer. I've put in a flyback transformer from another computer, but we still have some issues. The issues may have been caused by the bad flyback transformer, but we'll just have to see. So I'm going to plug this into the old mains power here. Being careful not to touch anything on this analog board because it's live voltage and I do not want to die. And I'm going to switch them on. Still getting a lovely loud chime. So we definitely got the 12 volt and 5 volt outputs good. It is only problems with the video at this stage. And we've still got the same problem. You can see here, vertical sweep related issues there. So we've got most of the image that way, but we're missing some at the top there, which is a bit of a poops. There are adjustments for the vertical and whatnot. If I can find my little adjustment tools, I did see them the other day. I usually keep them here. Oh, and they're there. So this one I think is the vertical. I know it's horizontal. I can see it. I'm horizontaling all over the place. Incidentally, this particular adjustment that I'm making at the moment, it's got a little... oh, it makes a nice buzzing noise there. There's a buzzing noise. Buzzing noise. There's a little bit of ferrite in here. This is like a little coil type thing here. And you have to use plastic or ceramic tools for adjusting them. You cannot use metal, otherwise the metal will get very hot for one. Okay, so there's my vertical, but as you can see, it buzzes when I stretch it right out. So that's the problem that I have with this particular computer. Oh, sneeze. Okay, sneezy. Alright, so I really do need to take better notes of what I've been doing, because a lot of the things I actually planned to come down and do here today I had already done. So we know the general area here of the problems. We've got MPSU01, which is Q1. Missing some pages. Here we are. Q5. 2N5485. So we've got to find 2N5485. Is that it there? I can't tell. Anyhow, I've got to discharge this. So I'm going to grab my little discharging tool that I made today. Come on. And I'm going to pop him under the anode cap. Oh, we actually got a zap. How cool's that? It actually went click. Nice. I don't actually have that happen very often. A successful discharge. Last glass of wine and you before bed. Fair enough, Scout. Thank you for joining. Oh, geez, that's getting hot. That is getting hot with a capital hot. Ouchies. There we go. I did do a workshop and wine stream relatively recently, for anyone who has been pressuring me to do those. The main thing is because I do them at a time when I'm drinking wine, it's often quite late. As in late or early, depending how you look at it. So if I do a stream at 5 p.m. here, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. That's 3 in the morning on the east coast of the US. Oh, come on, Jay. Don't be like that. Right, so I do want to try and see if I can try and track down this Q5, 2N5485. Excuse me. 2N5485. I am going to just give you the chickens and the mute again. I promise that I won't forget that I'm muted this time. Chickens, because I'm going to blow my nose. I'm just going to make some horrible noises, and I really don't want to broadcast them to the world. And oops, where'd the chickens go? There they are. These allergies are really driving me bananas. I don't normally get them. It's just not normal for me at all, but it's just my lucky day today. So, what I'm looking for a transistor, 2N5485. I want to look that up to know what I'm looking for, because I can't trust the placements on this, because actually this might tell me. I can probably figure it out from the schematic. C5, 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 C5. Was it? Sorry, Q5, 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 Q1. Where are you? Q4. Are you messing with me? Where is Q5? Just don't even see it in this circuit. Q2, Q1, Q2. Is it a mistake? Vertical sweep circuit. Oh, there's Q5. I see it. All right, so U1, 200, U2, R24. Okay. So 25485. 5485. U1. That's U1 there. So he's connected to U1, pin 13 and pin 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if I can follow those two pins there, that might lead me. Oh, I can't read that. Who can be expected to read that? Certainly not at my age. Uh. 2N54845. I see it. 2N54845. So that is... Oh, it is actually still called Q5 on this. And by the looks of things, I've already had it out, which makes me think that's not the problem. But what else does it join to? Okay, that's going through to U2. You know, I wonder if I should be replacing U1 on this and U2. Because they're you know, they're a big part of this. Yeah, I was actually chatting with Jay about this a while ago, Greg, that we're sort of in temperature parity at the moment. You know, we've been sharing information about how hot it or cold it is where we are at the moment, and sort of Sydney temps pretty much the same as the temps that are happening over there at the moment, which is you know, it's that time of year. Temperature parity. I do feel inclined to replace these two ICs. That is LM324 and LS38. All of these are replaceable. I mean, you know, you can still get these sorts of chips these days. So, oh, excuse me, sneeze. But all roads lead to these chips here. I mean, it could still just be a resistor somewhere. Got all these resistors coming out here, like R8 and R9 and stuff like that. Okay, let's see where they're going. No. There's a resistor that's in it. There's all these ones down here. This little row of resistors are all part of it as well. Have I done anything with those? Nope, they look untouched. So I guess I can test them all. Something fell down. Oh, it's a socket. Socket to me. Okay. Come on. Oh. That's not what I want. I want that. Dumbass. 1K. That seems very high. Is it like 200K? Might be right. It's like, was it 400 ohms? 460. It's looking like it's going to be about 10K. So I'm going to look up these little codes and see. And if I don't get anything with these ones, I'm going to abandon this temporarily, and I'm going to work on the floppy drive, because that's something that it's a little bit more predictable. And you guys don't mind, do ya? Hey? I wonder if I can get hold of a Mac Plus where, like, the logic board's just cactus, and so I can just grab the analog board. I'd be good if I had the analog board and the CRT, because I could do with a spare CRT. Even a 512K, you know. So here's the thing, I've got two 512Ks now. I've got at least two pluses, but I just want them all to be working. Is it too much to ask? Okay, what have we got? Black, brown, red, gold. It can't be right, must be the other way around. Starts with black, what? No, brown, black, red, gold. Brown, black, red, gold. Red, gold. So that one is 1K. So let's see what we're getting. Yep. That's 0.95. That's close enough. Oopsie. I was wondered, what does Santa Claus wear, his winter suit or swim trunks during Christmas time? Yeah, well, there are actually lots of comical, like, cards, you know, like gift cards and stuff like that, Christmas cards, where you got Santa Claus wearing, you know, what we call thongs. I think Americans call flip-flops, and shorts, and surfing at Christmas time. Because I tell you what, so many of the Christmas traditions are just so ridiculous around Christmas time here in Australia. Things like having a hot meal, I mean, you know, a big baked dinner, you know, a big hot baked dinner. Over here at Christmas time, you're likely to see barbecues. That's fairly common, but we consume a lot of seafood during Christmas time. It's a big tradition. So seafood just sells like hotcakes when it's Christmas time. But one of the things that our family does is we make cold platters, so with cold cuts of meat and salads and stuff like that. $1K at 5%. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas is looking these things up for me. But I do not expect that. I appreciate it, but I don't expect it. Orange, orange, yellow, gold. How quickly can someone come up with that? Orange, orange. It was yellow, wasn't it? Gold. That is 330K. Okay, now that's testing a lot less than that. Let me just check. Well, zing zang. Wow, there's some wicked corrosion on this resistor. I might check that one. Orange, orange, yellow, gold. And I'm getting... Oh, wow, hang on. That's completely different to what I was getting before. 0.2... I'm getting 200 and something. Should be 330. Now, of course, it could be finding its way through other parts of the board. And that's why it's measuring less. But I'm still going to take it out and check it, because it's my duty. It's my duty. There's a mosquito flying around here at the moment. Die, mosquito, die. That's the sound of the solder sucker. Seven fishes. Oh, that's interesting. I was just chatting. So last night I went out to dinner with my cousin and his wife, and she is of Italian background, American, raised in America, but Italian background. And she was talking about the seven fishes, doing the seven fishes at Christmas time. And I'm like, the what? Yeah. I think it's a Catholic thing, is it not? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Up comes the pad. I'm going to have to do some creative work when I put that back. All right, so this one is supposed to be 330K. Yes, I've always found the concept of having Thanksgiving so close to Christmas an interesting one. All right, let's see what we're getting. Okay, we're getting the right amount here. 330K, or 334, 335. So this resistor was testing correctly. It was just reading less because there's obviously another way around the circuit where some power is getting there. What's the warning on the board? For continued fire protection, replace fuse the same type and rating. Yes, but a lot of devices say that. Right. I mean, should I replace it? I don't know. I'll see if I've got a 330K. I may not even have one in my stocks. I just always feel if I'm whipping it out, it's 300K, 330K. I do. You know, if I'm taking it out, I may as well stick a new one in. Future-proofing. But yeah, so for our basically our Christmas, what we will typically do, assuming of course there are people to do it with, because I have family, you know, sort of all around the world. So when I say all around the world, it's not like ridiculously lots of places, but like one of my cousins now lives in New Zealand. My sister now lives in Melbourne. Another one of my cousins lives in Los Angeles. So, you know, we don't, when Christmas time comes along, it's just a question of who's around at the time. But yeah, we will typically, depending on the weather, because you've got to remember, sometimes here at Christmas time, it can get insanely hot. up in the high 30s, 100 degrees, that sort of thing. And so sometimes we try and do it outdoors, but sometimes it's just too hot to go outdoors. So we just have to have it at someone's house. And what we will typically do is everyone brings a plate. Everyone brings a dish to kind of share the load. Just, whatever it might be. Typically cold stuff, it's just a lot easier. And we celebrate Christmas that way. We do a like a Kris Kringle style gift giving thing. So in other words, you get someone's name out of a hat, and you buy something for them. So each person gets one gift. There's a spending cap, so you can't spend too much money on anyone. And most importantly, when you do get that person out of the hat, you then get to ask them for a wish list. What are some of the things that you would like? And then that way, when they get something that they actually want. Freedom units. What's a freedom unit? Are you talking about Fahrenheit? The temperature scale that only one country in the world uses. Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yep. It's a weird temperature scale, that one. Of course, it's what we used to use. We changed over in, I think, 1966. Just going to try and kill this mosquito. He's been buzzing around for ages, and he's been biting me too, because I can feel it. No, stay still, you bastard. Okay, I'm moving along, and I'm going to do this next one. And this next one is... Whoa. In the right spot? Am I in the right spot? Yes, I am. Yellow... God, what is that? Violet? Yellow, violet, brown. Yellow, violet, brown. 470, it says. I think that was about what we were getting from memory. Yep, 465, that's fine. And then this last one is brown, black, orange. Brown, black, orange. Get myself a big orange. And that is 10K, that's a big one. That's coming in at about 9. It's actually going up, which means there's probably a capacitor in circuit somewhere. That's all right. Woohoo! Yeah, I mean, it does come down to what you're used to. I mean, for example, I was raised entirely in a metric system, but when I grew up, the scales we had were in stones and pounds and stuff like that. And so when I was younger, that was how I used to associate weight. Everything was just in stones. And then we ended up getting some new scales, and the new scales were in kilograms, and then just gradually I just became used to it. With height, I still struggle with centimetres. I mean, I know that someone who is 2 metres tall is very, very tall. But when it comes to some of the smaller heights, I really struggle. I still associate height with feet and inches. So when someone says, "Oh, that guy over there, he's 6'5", it's like, "Oh, okay, he's bloody tall." I know that. But I'm probably starting to get better at it, because it's becoming harder and harder to be a feet and inches height person out here, because anywhere you go, doctors, whatever, I mean, if they're talking about how tall you are, they're always going to want the answer in centimetres. I'll tell you the one area where I sort of feel like the sort of the older system must be very difficult compared to the newer system is in construction. I mean, I realise you're doing it. It's not like things aren't getting built in America or anything like that. But when I hear people talking in fractions of an inch when they're talking about doing measurements of stuff, I always look and think, God, that must be painful. That must be very tricky. Because we just use millimetres here. Typically, millimetres and metres. So when people are talking about a length, we have centimetres in between as well. But when it comes to construction, they tend not to use centimetres. They go straight from millimetres to metres. Yeah. Building in inches and fractions of an inch. Tape measure is annoying. The wrench size is annoying with USA. Yeah. I mean, obviously we're all millimeters here. I've got an old car, and the old car has, sort of old, bolts and stuff on it. So I have to have a socket set, sort of a set of what we call spanners, but I think Americans call them wrenches. I have to have a set of the sort of the old ones for that reason, for that car, but everything else here is all in millimeters. Sorry about the sniffles, folks. It's terrible. So probably the next thing that I would do with this is look at replacing these chips, the U1 and U2. I'm still really concerned about this Q2 getting crazy hot. It's like way hotter than I would think it should get. I think it's getting like up over 100 degrees C. So I'm tempted to sort of investigate around here to see if there's something in the circuit here that might be causing an issue. That diode is okay. I'm pretty sure I've changed that. So there's this one here. It's called BU406. Here, let's see if we can find them on the schematic. In a minute, I'm just going to abandon this and work on the floppy drive because I am getting a little bit tired of it. It's starting to annoy me. So, where is it? BU. BU406. You don't see it? Maybe it's on a different circuit. Yeah, that's Dave makes a very important point here when it comes to metrication. The US is already heavily metricated in certain areas, and people may or may not even realise it. When they go and get a dosage of something from a syringe, it will be measured in cc's or cubic centimetres. So you will be going in and getting things in cubic centimetres. When it comes to measuring out of drugs and things like that, they're usually going to be weighed out in grams, so that you've got that. So a lot of metrication already in medical. And then, of course, in the scientific field, a lot of science areas, they all metricate as well. And one of the reasons for that is because of the relationship between weight and volume. So, for example, if you have 100 millilitres of water, it weighs 100 grams. So you've got that relationship between, so 1 millilitre is 1 gram, and 1 millilitre is 1 square millimetre, I think, of water, something like that. So all of these things actually, they all correlate when it comes to volume and weight and volume, weight, and that's it. Yeah, volume and weight. Yeah, and yeah, that's right. So anyhow, that's one of the advantages, one of the reasons why it is used a lot in the scientific field, because it's just a lot easier for doing measurements of things. So and of course, like places like NASA. I mean, NASA are all metricated. All of the calculations they do relating to all the stuff they do all of that in metric numbers. So. A lot of American baking recipes are also starting to give measurements in grams, and I really like it because it makes it easier to avoid screwing up your bread. Yes, you got to make sure you get your measurements right with baking. That's for sure. The Yeah, I mean, definite advantages there. One of the big issues we have here in Australia, it relates to the tablespoon, because the tablespoon is a unit of measure, which is, sort of like from the old-fashioned measurements. And when it actually came time to metricating the tablespoon, Australia made a tablespoon 20 millilitres. And the UK, their tablespoon is 15 millilitres. Our tablespoon is actually slightly larger than other countries' metric tablespoons. Don't know why we did it this way in Australia, but we've got the biggest tablespoon in the metric system. But okay. Have you tried contact cleaner on all the pots? Really don't think the pots are the issue with this one. And the only reason I say it is because when I twiddle them, they do what they're supposed to do. They're not flickering or anything like that. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. So the next step forward is I need to, first of all, find out why this thing is getting so hot. Because, sorry, let me spin it around so you can see it. This thing is getting so hot because that's probably part of the problem, that it's getting hot. So I need to investigate that a little bit further. But I've definitely done enough with these. So what I'm going to do just for the moment, until I wrap things up, which I will be doing soon, so I can go out there and finish building my chicken enclosure. For anyone who hasn't seen my chicken enclosure so far, that's my chicken enclosure. In the past, the chickens just had this whole area to roam around, which is nice, but there are two problems with that. Problem number one is there's a fence across to the right there that you can't see, and it's a pretty high fence, but some of the chickens have still got enough flight in them to be able to get over it. They get over the fence, they go to the rest of our yard, and they eat the plants and stuff, and that's not good. So that's problem number one. Even when some of the birds, when you clip their wings, they're still able to make that sort of height. The light ones anyway, the little chickens can fly quite high. So that's number one, is trying to keep them in this area. But the biggest problem is the amount of food that I am losing on a daily basis to pigeons. We have pigeons that just hang around to eat the leftover of what the chickens don't eat. And that's just costing us a fortune. And it also means that I can't just leave food out. If I just leave food out, it's just going to get, eaten by pigeons. And it's totally not good. Pigeons aren't actually a native animal to this country. These pigeons, anyway. We do have native Australian pigeons. We've got things called a crested pigeon. They're a beautiful little bird. But the pigeons that I'm talking about are introduced pigeons, and they just reach plague proportions because of all of the chicken food that's out. So I'm building this enclosure. I've already got some of the chicken wire on it. I've got it on 1/4 of it, and I just need to do the rest. And then the little chickens will have their own little area. It's quite large. It's 3 meters by 8 meters, which is, I think, if my conversions are correct, it's about 26 feet in length by 10 feet wide. So the great thing about this is that there's also covers, and you can decide where you want to put the cover. So these, if you may not be able to see, but it's divided into 4 sections, and you can put covers on 2 of those 4 sections to then keep rain and sun out and stuff like that. So this area where that chicken is now, that's underneath a tree, so that's an area where they can sort of stay cool in the warmer weather. And we're going to put the covers there, so that'll just give some additional shelter, and it'll also shelter them for when it's raining. So they'll be able to stay in one half of it and get rain, and then the other half is where they get good sunlight. So that's somewhere where they can sun themselves in the colder season and stuff like that. So. And then the pigeons will not be able to get in. The pigeons will not be able to get any of the food, and I can just leave food out there for the chickens with impunity. So anyhow, that's that. So now we're just going to go in and do this. It's a fairly standard routine here, because I've done this many, many times before. Needs to be done to these floppy drives when they get old, they get dirty, and they stop ejecting. Now this one I think still does eject. This one's actually got a system disk in it, which is quite unusual. Don't normally get these computers with system disks in it, but I had one. Need a better screwdriver than that. There's a video on YouTube that I watched once of a guy. I think he's either restoring a hard drive or a floppy drive. I can't remember. I think it's an Australian bloke. And he is just trying to open something up with totally the wrong screwdriver. And it is so frustrating to watch. So I do like to try and have the right screwdriver wherever possible, so that people aren't staring at it going, wrong screwdriver. Okay, so this is the floppy drive. It's an 800K one. How do you tell whether it's a 1.4 or an 800K? The easiest way to tell is these little switches at the front here. You can see these switches, if I get this up a little bit closer. These switches here are these little micro switches. There we go. Little micro switches with a lever. And they go down there like that. There's two switches. One switch to detect if there is a disk in the drive. The second switch to detect if the disk is write protected. If you're using a high density drive, they have three switches, and they're not this lever type. They've got little white little things sticking up. So they have two on one side and one on the other side. So that's the main way you tell whether you're dealing with an 800K or 1.4, are these little switches at the front. Right. So this one says, J. Gregory System. Okay, so one of the first things we need to do with these is close the top. With an 800K drive, that's just really easy. You just push this forward. You just push that there and then it just plops down. And once it's down, I'm going to take this little guy off. This is the plastic thing that actually lifts the thing up. What do you call that thing? The heads up. So get rid of that. Not get rid of it, remove it for the moment. And then we've just got to lift that off there. And we've got to lift that off there. Two little springs. And once that's done, this top section here, you can just kind of wiggle your way out. So there you got that separate there. And you got this bit here. This one is actually in remarkably good condition. This is the eject motor here. Now, you can see this is quite different to the later ones. This has this cam spinning here. The other ones do have a cam, but it's inside an enclosure. So with the later ones, there's a sort of a box here, and and that cam is inside the box, but it's covered by a PCB. You can open up and have a look at it. Thanks for joining, Greg. Take it easy. Go work on your Sunday video. Hope you're feeling better after your crash. Okay, so now I'm going to take the eject motor out, and we'll see what the state of the eject gear is. Right, okay, here is the little eject motor. So much of these drives are just completely and totally unchanged. I think I mentioned this a while ago, but someone sent me a stack of these to restore. They sent me 8 of them. And so I had to just work my way through 8 of them one at a time. Now, here's something you don't see on the later ones. This little bottom piece is actually screwed on with 3 screws. On the later ones, it's just clipped in with little plastic things that retain, hold them in place. But they still have the same issue. They still have the same eject gear. They still have the same potential for that eject gear to go like cheese. Like a fine cheese. Okay, so this one looks really good. It really is in pretty good condition. So this gear comes off the top there. And this is the cheese gear, and you can actually see this hasn't been used in a while, because you can see how it's going green here. The, the lubricant is actually making this metal here start to corrode and leach out this green stuff. But it still has all its cogs, it does for now. I mean, it'll probably lose some when I take it out. Yeah, look, I just knocked some off with the tweezers then, just trying to pull it out. Up you come. There we go. So there is our little eject cog, and if I just push it lightly with the tweezers, you can see exactly what happens. And then, zibba zabba, there's a replacement. This is one that I 3D printed here on my own. I have a bit of an issue with some of the ones that get reproduced, and the issue that I have is a lot of them, when they're reproducing, they don't reproduce this little, I don't know if you can see, if I get the light right. See, there's a little step down. See how there's a little round bit that sticks out there? And what that means is it means there's less surface area of this cog scraping on the base here, because that's where it touches this base part here. So it means there's less friction going on when it spins. And a lot of the reproduction ones don't retain that, and that means that when they spin, there's a lot more friction. But I make sure that I do retain that on the ones I make. So just saying. And that goes in place there. And that's my new little cog. But before I do that, I've got to clean it. Oh, Steve is back. Or have you been hiding and listening in the background? Or did you disappear for a while? Because Steve's having to get himself all ready for VCF. I don't know if anyone else is going to VCF, but VCF is coming up, I think, next weekend. And Steve will have a stand there, as will Sean from Action Retro, I think. Who else is going to have a stand there, Steve? So, of the people that we know. Are you going to be bringing anything interesting and fascinating and unusual? I would love to get to it one day. A friend of mine is going, Adrian from, what do you call Juicy Crumb. He's going to be there. So he's flying over. But it's not something that fits in with my budget. Now, I need to go and get some lube. So please excuse me while I go. What did I use it for? I used it for something the other day. It was squeaking. Oh, I remember. So it's possibly... Oh, it's here. Only person representing Compaq. Compaq is one of these companies that I do actually like. I know I'm a Mac person, but I am also a big fan of the vintage computer history. And Compaq was a very, very important player in the personal computer industry. And just because they're not Mac doesn't mean that I don't think they're a very important part. Okay, so I've lubed it. Incidentally, oh, crap. What's happened? Oh, the camera's pointing in the wrong direction, that's what. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. That's useful. Just going to move this camera a bit. I have to get up for this part. Can't do it remotely. There we go. So it's all lubed up. You can't turn this from here. It's just geared too heavily. You would break it. You got to turn it from this side. I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to throw some volts at it and see that it spins. I think Jeff Geeling's going to be at VCF as well. I think. Not sure. Okie dokie. So I've got that. Now, where do I throw the power? I know how to do it on the other ones. I just need to put it where the motor goes in. So it's wherever. Oh, God. I need my glasses. So the motor connects there and there. So there and there. Positive at the top, negative on the bottom. All right. So what have I got here in the way of some power? I might just use some test probes because I can point nice sharp pointy ends with them. And I'm just going to grab myself 12 friendly little DC volts. Whoopsie. 8.4. That's a weird thing to be set on. There we go. 12 volts. I didn't plug them in, so that's pretty stupid. Ugh. Yeah. Anyone who wants to do any sort of electronic stuff, I highly recommend getting a bench power supply. It really should be one of the first things that you get. Right, so just going to try this. Oh, whoo, whoo. Sorry, I'm going to have to look at this again. Okay, so that's black going to there. That's red going to there. So I really should just be going there and there. Should be going black there. Yeah. There you go. Spinning. There we go. So you want to, when you're putting it back together, you want this to be facing all the way out that way. And that can go back in. But I'm not going to put that back in yet because I'm going to clean other things. Some of the other things that I do while I have these apart is I give this a really good clean to get any old grease off. You can see there's a lot of old grease here. And same with around here. I take these off. Look at this. I just broke that. Oh no, they've got splits in them. Interesting. The new ones don't have splits in them. These older ones do. Huh. Well, how about that? Stuck in a Chamberlain. So, clean that as well. Give everything a good old scrub-a-dub-dub around here. Don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you for that, Steve. I do sometimes forget to tell people about that. It's all very important for the algorithm. Needs to know, oh, look at all these people who liked this. We've got to try and convince Steve to do a live stream soon too as well. But he's just been using this whole VCF thing as an excuse lately. It's disgraceful. We just need to make sure that Steve works harder. And he's been saying something about work being really busy as well. It all sounds made up to me. I texted you some thermal images of my flyback. What's it in? Oh, that's that one you were looking at before. That's right. And I said, try swapping it out with another flyback. Did you swap it out with another flyback? Love you. That, I've mentioned this on my live streams before, but that love you thing, it's a little in-joke that we had when someone accidentally sent me a text and it said, love you, good night. And he'd been texting me and his girlfriend at the same time. And he accidentally sent me the message that he meant for his girlfriend. And had a bit of a chuckle at it, but then I get the occasional message from Steve saying, love you, good night. It's fun. I haven't yet. I put a fan directly on it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, look, ultimately, this is one of the easiest ways of trying to figure these things out. If you just swap them with a good one, and then just see what happens. I can't even remember what the problem was. You texted me last night just before I was going to bed. I was just finishing watching some TV, and I was a little bit drunk. And what was it? I can't even remember what the issue was. Please remind me what the issue was. I mean, I can look up in the texts, but you're right here. After about 45 minutes, the screen twitches a bit and the flyback area gets super toasty in the case. Anything else get toasty? This is a Plus, wasn't it? It was a Mac Plus? Let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at Steve's message that he just sent me. Oh, he's put like a Noctua fan in it. Oh, I can remember that is getting hot. Everything's getting hot. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I wish I know, but I don't know. Oh, don't like the sound of that. A bit of grit in there. That's all right. Why is that crooked? Why do I always get a warped one? Stick your finger inside that area. That makes sense. So yeah, this is just me trying to fix up this. This 800K floppy drive already works. It just doesn't eject. So, well, actually, I think it still does eject, but the cheese gear was just about at the end of its life. EOL. Heads. Got to clean it. You always got lots of gunk in here as well. Got to clean that out. And the heads themselves need cleaning, but that can be done with it all assembled. That doesn't have to be done now. I had to do a zeroing, of the heads of one of these lately, and I learned a trick about that from a really clever guy who posted a to-do guide. So what you have here is a thing called an interrupter, and it's shining a little infrared or something light out of one of these, and the other one is detecting it. So whenever that light signal gets blocked, it knows that something has passed in its way. And what has passed in its way is this little piece of black plastic here. As the heads fly up and down, this little thing here goes through that, and then when it hits that, it knows it's home. And this is adjustable. You can undo this screw and you can move this unit forward or backwards to change the position of the home. And I had one the other day where the home was out, and so I was able to actually get the home in. There's a really cool trick that someone taught me, and that is that there are only a certain amount of positions that it can rotate. And you can actually see on this screw gear here, if you mark a little line on that, you can actually watch that little line when it lands, whether it lands in a particular position. And that allows you to tell where it is. I mean, it's still a lot of kind of just a lot of getting a feel for it rather than real science based. I'm sure there are probably some measurement tools that can be used, but I don't have them. But it worked. It worked really well. I ended up having this drive that didn't work, and then at the end of it, it did work. And there was much rejoicing. Yeah. I've got a few floppy drives which are just totally beyond help. I picked some up from, I did a video on it at the time, and this is what I called my barn find Macs. This guy had been keeping Macs in a barn, and they were just really heavily corroded. And some of those are so rusted, the metal is so rusted. I mean, look, I probably could pull them all apart, remove all the rust from the metal, give it a new coat of paint and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. For me these days, I worry less and less about the floppy drives because I just don't use them. If I'm transferring files onto these computers, I just do it via a SCSI emulator. And so I just tend not to worry about using the floppy drives at all. Right, well, that's this bottom part done. So what remains now is I will just get these, I will clear a little bit of grease off it, and then these will end up going into the ultrasonic cleaner, which is just over there. It's already heated up. How good is that? Love it when it's already heated up. So, scrubby. You can see all this grease on here. Yeah, just get rid of all that old grease. I'll put new grease on, but I just want to get rid of the old stuff. And the ultrasonic cleaner, one of the advantages it has, it can clean in areas that you just simply can't get to with a toothbrush. It can clean all inside little grooves and stuff. It can get, essentially, wherever water can get, it can clean. So I'll pop this into the ultrasonic cleaner to get the worst of it off. Pop this into the ultrasonic cleaner. And then new grease. Put it back together again. And she'll be as good as gold. The only problem that I have with this one is it was making a squeaking sound, and I suspect the squeaking was coming from this. And there's not that much I can do with this, because this is all kind of built into the board. This is not really something that comes apart particularly easily. So I could maybe chuck a little bit of grease or some fine oil in there or something like that. But hopefully it's not squeaking anymore. Found my Kensington System Saver. What's a Kensington System Saver? I've got one of my favourite Mac peripherals from vintage was a mouse that Kensington made. It was called Thinking Mouse or Think Mouse, something like that. And it had 4 buttons on it. This predates scroll wheels, so no scroll wheel, but they weren't invented yet. But it's a little Kensington mouse, and it had software drivers that you put on. And it had 4 little buttons on the top, and you could program shortcuts for each of the 4 buttons. So you could have a single click, a right click, a double click. But what you could also do is you could program pressing 2 at the same time. So you could have the 2 front ones and the 2 back ones. So what they refer to as chordic buttons. And so what it meant was you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different programmable buttons on the mouse, and that was so awesome. I had them set up with like complex, keystrokes, stuff, combinations of things. I can't even remember now because it's such a long time ago, but whatever it might be, sort of doing stuff shortcut that I just had set up on the mouse. It was awesome. It was the bestest mouse ever. Oh, the fan, yeah. Okay, did the little wrench, or what we in Australia would call a spanner, next to someone's name, means they are a moderator for the chat. So if someone were to say something rude and offensive, Steve would be able to block them, either remove them from the chat entirely or give them a timeout. So anyone you see with that little spannery wrenchy thing, they are moderators for the chat. Yeah. And if you ever see anyone turn up and their name's sort of highlighted in grey, that usually means I think they've got more than 100,000 subscribers, something like that. So we get a few of those pop in every now and again. See, Sean's got over 100,000. Jeff's got over 100,000. What's his name? A couple of others. Over 100,000, yeah. Well over. I'm heading there, but I'm still a bit of a way away. I'm planning to do some sort of celebratory live stream or some sort of celebratory video when I reach 68,000. Seeing as 68k max, vintage max, I figured that would be a fairly a good opportunity to do something along those lines. All right, well, I am going to wrap things up now. I'm going to drop this into the ultrasonic cleaner, but I generally don't do that while the video is running because it's very noisy and awful, and I don't like listening to it while I'm doing my live streams. So I'm going to wrap things up now. So we didn't really make much progress with the Mac Plus, other than it actually looked a little bit better than it did when I put it away. But I still have a few more components in that circuit that I really want to check out a little bit closer. But the problem is that I have a schematic here with all of the components for the US board, not the international board. So I think what I would like to do is get this schematic and go in and just write over it what the equivalents are on this one here. That will make it far easier for me to follow. I can just trace it all back and go, okay, now that let's look at this one, then let's look at this one, and do it that way. But I'm also very seriously thinking about replacing U1 and U2 just to see if they're involved, because even though some of these things aren't necessarily listed, you know, you've got this stuff made by Larry Pina. He's got the Dead Mac Scrolls and Macintosh Repair and Upgrade Secrets. I think that was what was called, something like that. Even though he has a lot of guidance of things that can go wrong in those, he's coming at it from the perspective of when these computers weren't that old. And there are things that probably wouldn't have failed then, but have failed now because they're a lot older. So yes, it's an excellent guide for finding out what's wrong, but sometimes it can be other things that weren't in those guides. But thankfully someone has traced out this schematic, so as long as I've got all of the correct you know, sort of the correct codes on the board, the correct, you know, sort of that say where the things are. I know there's a word for that, but I can't think of it. I think I should be able to figure it out. And then I have to try and source another flyback transformer. So putting it out to the world, flyback transformers. I just want to mention very quickly, a few videos a while ago I put together some little paddles for the Apple IIe or Apple IIc. Little twisty paddly things from K-Koba, Keros Mac Mods. Now I had some problems, but they were nothing to do with the paddles. The problems I had were related to the port on the back of my 2C, which had not been used in such a long time. It was very heavily corroded. So when I plugged the plug in, it wasn't making proper contact. But after removing it, plugging in it a few times, it made better contact and it worked fine. He now has those paddles available on his Keros Mac Mods website. Okay, so if you're wanting to get a set of those paddles and build them yourself, please grab some. Get some from Keros Mac Mods. They're really cute. They're beautifully made. He's used really good high quality buttons on them. So yeah, they're good. My nose is so blocked. Can you do KiCad videos? No, I cannot. Need to know how KiCad works to do that. Yeah, it's not my thing. I will learn it one day, but I haven't. But all right, before I have to sniffle my nose and make horrible noises anymore, I am going to say thank you to everyone for turning up. Thank you for keeping the chat lively. I really enjoy this chat. I was watching a live stream the other day, and there were hundreds of people in the chat, and everything was moving so fast. I just found it totally boring. This chat here has the right amount of people that just keeps moving, it keeps active, lots of chat going on, but it doesn't get overwhelming. You can sort of read it and you can follow conversations with that. So that's great. And I really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who gave me super chats. There were a few who did it today. So thank you to you. I do appreciate it. And I hope you can join me for my next live stream, which will hopefully be next weekend. And of course, I'm working on a video as well at the moment, a little project video, which will hopefully come out fairly soon too. I'll be working on that this weekend if I have time. So thanks again. I do appreciate you all joining me. I hope you'll see me at the next one. And have a good day, night, whatever it happens to be. So bye-bye.